All right, everybody. Welcome. Today is April 22nd. All right, look at that. It's already almost 1 month through the second quarter. I always think in numbers, especially if you're a business person, which you are. That's how you need to look at this. Okay, so we're through the first quarter. We're almost 1/3 through, 1 week away from 1/3 through the second quarter. And I do that because I want to make sure I'm on track for my goals. You guys just have me today, so feel free to ask questions, interrupt. You'll have to hit *6 to unmute yourself to do that, though, because I've already mutified all of you. So in order to testify, you must unmutify, and that's by hitting *6. All right? So today I want to talk about a couple of things, okay? First, I want to talk about where are you getting your business from right now, right? So, and people always ask me that question, well, where are the top producers getting their business? And I always go, from the same places they always are. Some of them are phone people, some of them are door knockers, some of them are working their sphere, some of them are doing social media, some of them are doing active open houses, some of them are doing a little of all of that. So the real question is, what is your plan? Like, what's your plan? Are you working your plan? Are you talking to? I know what my plan was. 25 contacts a day. That's all I had to focus on. And I started with the new expireds, did about an hour of old expireds, called around my listings and sales, finished by calling my sphere. And then, Monday or Tuesday, I'd call a couple FSBOs and set up my previews for the following week. And that was every day to me. But I was in an area where I went through my phone book a few times a year just doing what I just mentioned, right? Because it wasn't a gigantic area. All right, here, you could really, think about it. And I have a few agents that do this too. They call the expireds, they call the old expireds. They also call around their listings and sales. They work their sphere, and they do a lot of business from doing that. Then you add in, okay, well, everybody you talk to, have them loaded up in the VAC, make sure they're getting something from you on an auto drip, neighborhood report, market report, newsletters, all the different things you can send them. All right, and then you make sure they're all connected with you on social media. I know I'm a broken record about this, but you'd be shocked how many people haven't got that set up. It shocks me. That means that every step you take, every video you do, every phone call you make, every email they're all working in conjunction with each other. They can't go on their cell phone without seeing you. They can't look at their email without seeing. And I'm not talking about doing this to the point where they spam you. I'm talking about a couple emails a month. I'm talking about one phone call a quarter, and I'm talking about maybe, 2 videos a week, 3's better, 5 won't kill you. All right? That all depends on what you're looking for. All right? And I'm going to tell you, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all of them. I put the same video on all of them, and it works just fine. All right, even YouTube Shorts, because it's just got to be under a minute. I recommend under 45 seconds, but under a minute for sure. All right, so if you just came on, I'm open for questions today because it's just me, but you got to hit *6 to unmute yourself. *6, then I can hear you, and then just make sure you mute yourself after. So any questions about business, where I get business from? Any questions right now, people? Don't be afraid. *6, and I can hear you. Any questions about where to get business from? As you guys know, I call it Thrive with the Big 5. You've got your sphere, you've got expireds for sale by owners, just listed and just sold, which is technically farming, and then you've got social media. Those are the 5 that I like to focus on. Okay, are there more? Probably, but they usually fit within those categories. Like if you're out there, I know people that make a living off doing active open houses. Well, that's kind of like farming activities. Active open houses around just listed, just sold, and telling everybody you have an open house going on. All right, so there you go. That's number 1 on my list today. My second one is how are you branding yourself within the brand? You should have a brand with it. It doesn't mean you have to have a funky logo. Just brand yourself. Like, what is your edge? What do you talk about? All right, and I'm talking about like, what is your, what parts of the VAC do you use? What are you sending people? Can you have a brand done within the brand? Everybody seems to love to do that. You can. Right, you can have a little brand, your brand within the brand. Just make sure it's all harmonious. We have a great, our marketing department with Maria Hill is absolutely perfect. to do that too. So if you want to do your brand within the brand, but just using the brand and your face, as I tell you guys, your current picture, use your current picture, not your high school glamour shots. And, if you're using stock stuff in the VAC, I guarantee you it's still working extremely well because very few people use the VAC the way it should be used, maybe 25 to 30% of the company, which is crazy because, it's in your split, it's free, however you want to say that. I would be definitely taking advantage of that. So where are you getting your business from and how are you branding yourself, okay, within your plan, I would say is critically important. And if you've already focused on those, great. If you need to tighten something up, recommend doing that. Remember, I always have room in my coaching. I got a little room available now, so feel free to reach out to Lisa P, LISAP at BHHSNV.com. I have room in my individual and I have room in my group coaching as well. Group coaching usually for the newer people. All right, so that's number 2 on my list. Number 3 is, how are you at having quality conversations? These are all important parts. By the way, I start Success Series next week again. I go over all this stuff there. Success Series, the 29th at the St. Rose office this time, because we just had it at the wonderful Summerlin office, Amanda, Kristen, and Janice's office, and now I'm over here at Carlos and Amanda's office. Amanda goes back and forth. So we've got it going on here in the second floor training room. I go through all this stuff in detail, but I think to me, and by coaching as long as I have, and one of the things I was not good at is having quality conversations. Now, talking a lot at someone is not having a quality conversation. Making somebody, because you're asking questions, do 50% of more of the talking in your direction, meaning that you're having a conversation with them, that's a quality conversation about them, like you're interested in them. It's always actually better if you are interested in them. Remember your fiduciary responsibility. You have a fiduciary responsibility to people. You're supposed to know everything as much as possible about them so you can help them get what they want. That's your job. And in this new world of everybody's going to need a contract, whether you're the buyer or the seller, sellers already do, buyers are going to. Honestly, folks, it's long overdue since buyer agency existed since the mid-90s. I'm shocked it's taken 30 years, just about 29 years to make it mandatory, okay? And what's going to be the final agreement? Who knows? Who knows? But we do know that using a buyer-broker agreement has always been good. All right, it should been. Now it looks like it'll be mandatory after July. And is it going to be really July or August? Who knows? But figure July or August. It could be next year. It could be. Who knows? But it's going to be MLS. I think is going to come up with their changes. We'll see what it's totally agreed upon when it's all said and done. This could go on for a while. Okay, and all these changes I think are good for the business ultimately, even though some people don't like the buyer broker agreement. It was written by Satan. That's not true. Think about it. Most of the complaints through NAR are from people who thought they were represented by somebody, but they weren't because they never signed a buyer broker agreement. This forces you to explain to people, okay, what that is, and I think it's a good thing, and I think all of us should have been doing it from the beginning. All right, so, and then, like your compensation. Well, I had an agent say this to me the other day. I don't feel comfortable asking people for money. What are you talking about? You're already doing it now. It's just covert because it's already in, and most good listing agents, okay, most good listing agents are, they're not going to take listings without a sub-agency fee. A cooperating fee is what we're going to have to start calling it, I think. Cooperating fee. All right, I mean, I can tell you what I used to do. When the buyer broker agreement first came out, within a few years of me getting used to it, I actually figured something out with my broker. And let's say that you are, let's say that you have a listing and you're offering 2.5% in MLS, but I have a buyer broker agreement at 3%. I would call you and go, oh, Sally, hey, Rick Berube here. And eventually they got to know me. Yep, oh, I know. You wanted me to ask my seller if they'll pay 3% if you bring a contract in. Yep, no problem. And they send me an email. So now I've got a 3%. I don't even have to worry about talking to my buyer about maybe adding some into the offer or having it be part of the closing costs or whatever, because I just asked the other agent, hey, just factor in 3 for mine, okay? You know, I mean, it's net numbers, right? So, and then I would get it in writing. It didn't work every time, but it did work most of the time. And then by the time this all becomes down, like in California, there's a part in the contract for the buyer agency. So they're going to have to use that as part of their net because it's going to be in the contract. I prefer having the conversation so they know, you know, because I think it's common courtesy, right? And, you know, the 80% of the 20% of the agents doing 80% of the business, you're all going to know eventually how each other works anyway. So just because it can't be an MLS, I'm not even convinced it's not going to be an MLS either, to be honest with you. So hang in there. Nothing changes till then. Start using the buyer broker agreement now. That's what I would do. Definitely. And you should have been using it. You know, the agents I coach that are in the business 2, 3, 4 years, they're like, well, what does this change for me? Right now, nothing, because you're already using the buyer broker agreement. Okay. All right. So I think that's critically important, having quality conversations. Look, I'm going to tell you, I was not good at it. I was good at talking. And I wasn't really, or at least I thought I was good at talking. Kind of like when I started coaching, same thing. You go through this learning curve. And eventually, when you can get people to do most of the talking because you're asking them questions, repeating, approving, asking the next questions. If you really want to know how to have great conversations, come to Success Series next week, right here at the St. Rose office, the 29th of April through the 3rd from 1 to 4. And as a bonus, you'll get 3 if you're licensed with our company. Even if you're not with our company, as long as you're licensed and been in the business more than a year and have done your post, then you get 3 credits towards general personal development. Even one Thursday is actually an agency. The second is actually an agency class. Imagine that. All right. 15 credits towards your 36. Vegas is awesome, or Nevada, I should say, is awesome. Arizona and California, they don't let us do that. All right. So there we go. So quality conversations. I also wrote down here, make sure you know exactly which proactive activities you're doing on a daily basis. All right, that's critically important. Which ones are you going to do? And I always like to do them first. Get them out of the way. You know, if you're going to the gym early and then doing your proactive activities first, by lunch, the rest of the day's a breeze. Okay, it's like you climbed, like you're on your bicycle and you climb the hill. Now you're going down the other side, although keep pedaling because you go faster. All right, that's the 4th thing I wrote down. The 5th thing I wrote down is semi-stalker lead follow-up, especially in this, you know, this time of year, folks. The business has picked up. You know, we're ahead of last year's pace, not a lot, but we're a little ahead, and I feel like it's getting even busier just by the conversations I'm having and the questions I'm getting and the numbers I'm seeing, and I think it's going to continue, even though the Fed is not helping with their base rate. Forget about that. All right, who cares? People are buying, people are selling. What are the rates? You quote them what the rates are. I don't even quote the rates. I just set them up with prosperity. Okay, so however you want to do that, but make sure your lead follow-up is critical. I also think right now, so I can't state that enough. The fortune is in the follow-up. So use the VAC, follow up, talk to people. It's better to over lead follow-up than under. Can't tell you how many conversations I've had as a coach. You're not going to believe what someone did to me. When everyone says that to me as an agent, I always know, well, I shouldn't say always, 90% of the time, it's a lack of following up of the agent. Well, I talked to them last year and they told me to call them back in May. Well, how many times have you talked to them since then? None. Well, it's not their fault, it's yours. You know, you got to keep, hey, how's it going? Is your time frame still the same? Make sure they're getting a neighborhood report from you. Guys, this is a business. You have to act like a business person. Even though it's real estate, you still have to act like a business person. And if you do, you will kill it in this business. The 6th thing I wrote down here is high impact open houses. I think right now, those are critical. I mean, without shortage of inventory, you know, and if you're getting everybody, remember, it's an excuse to prospect that turns into a free retail store to collect leads if you do it right. And that means I'm out knocking the neighborhood, talking to the neighbors, showing them what I do to get a property sold, which isn't just getting my property sold, it's also getting me future business. Then I have the open house. Everybody signs in. I get everybody's information. Well, how do you do that? Because I ask them. And then I use Mobility RE as another way to get it. All right. So, and then when they leave, then I do my, semi-stalker lead follow-up. I always added a few people to my system and ended up working with at least one new buyer from every open house on average. Especially in today's, you get a decent amount of people showing up. Okay? And then you follow up like crazy. You can also, a high impact open house is a tremendous social media event. You video when you're out there door knocking. You do Facebook Live the day of, right? If you want to do a drawing or something, you can do that on Facebook. Give away a Starbucks card or whatever. It's a tremendous source of business if you do it right. But if you just pick one on Friday afternoon, go Saturday morning at 10 till 1, that's better than nothing, but it's not as good as what I just mentioned. Okay? Next one is, number 7 on my list is, okay, and I know I'm a broken record about this, but I have to say it again. If you're not practicing your listing presentation and you don't have a stock one down, do it. Use it. You can use the one right out of the VAC. You can use the Mike Ferry one. You can use the Tom Ferry one. You can use the Brian Buffini one. I don't care which one you use as long as you're comfortable and confident using it. Okay? So that's the listing. Same with the buyer presentation. People ask me, well, how am I going to get a buyer broker to sign a buyer broker agreement? By having a presentation. Do you have a listing presentation? Yeah, it's the same exact thing except for buyers. You're going to show them what you're going to do for them. I actually had someone, a top agent, say to me, well, I'm not comfortable with how much value I bring to the transaction. I go, what? Write down the last buyer you closed, just a buyer, exactly what you did from the beginning to the end. Well, yeah, well, do they know that? They don't know that. Have you ever had a buyer that you saved from making mistakes? And yes, the answer is yes. You bring value, guys. Okay, you got to understand what that value is. It has to come across as confidence. Okay. The next thing I wrote down is versatility. Okay, and that means in every area, negotiating, prospecting. Remember the 4 personality styles is my point. Some people are, drivers. Some people are amiable. Some people are analytical. And some people are emotional. Expressive. Expressive. And they're all good. They all work incredibly well to be a dynamite salesperson. They all work incredibly well as buyers and sellers. You just need to understand, okay, who you're dealing with. Like, I know I'm a driver. I can act very expressively, but I'm primarily a driver. I know that by the decisions I make, by the way I talk to myself, by the way I keep my numbers from my workout, my diet, my reading, I keep my stats on my Audible. Matter of fact, now Audible does it for you. So does YouTube. YouTube sends me my stats every month. How many people viewed? How many minutes? It's awesome. And Audible tells me how much I listen. I love it. I'm an award winner every year. I can't think what the award is, but they give me an award. I love the award. All right. So, you're filling your stuff with good. You're filling your mind with good stuff every day, and your body, right? Or you're not filling it with good stuff. You're filling it with bad stuff, and it's really up to you which one you want to, because it's it's up to you. All right. So, work on your versatility if you feel like you need it, because everybody needs it, honestly. Once again, as luck may have it, I'm doing Success Series next week at the St. Rose office, and you guys can all come in, and it's free. And if it's free, how bad could I be, right? Same with my coaching, folks. Right. So, all right. And then number 10 on my list of 10 is your business plan schedule. How often are you looking at it? Do you need to make any tweaks? Is your business plan, time blocked, and are you following it? And most people do a really good business plan and schedule October last year, November. And by now, you've either seen the benefits of following it, or you're beating yourself up because you haven't been following it as much as you should or could. So, but right now, you still have about, 67% a little bit more than 60, yeah, probably 68% of the year, because we're not quite a third of the way through the year. So you still have 3/4 of, was it? No, yeah, 3/4 of the year ahead of you. So even if you haven't been perfect, you can make changes and definitely catch up before the end of the year. I would always recommend right now, as long as you're at least 20% of your goal, there's no reason why you can't achieve it. All right. How about questions? Okay. So I've mutified you. If you have to hit *6 to unmute yourself. Does anybody have any questions about anything going on I can help them with? Questions? How about a comment? Epiphany?
I do have a question for you, Rick.
Sure.
And so when you mentioned about open houses,
yes.
Many people offer fake information. So how we can create something that is new and they motivate, incentive them to offer the real information, something, some prices. So what do you suggest?
Right. Okay. Is this Adriana, by the way?
Yes. Good morning. I'm sorry.
Hey. Well, welcome to the call and welcome to the company again. Great job.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
The first thing, the reason I wanted to know if it was you is I'm doing Success Series all next week at the St. Rose office. Please come all 5 days if you can, because I go through everything.
Oh, yes. Most likely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good. All right. So this is part of my open house class, which is on Wednesday. Okay. So when people walk in, I immediately get a rapport with them. I don't need them to sign in right away, even though I kept like 3 or 4 little clipboards, you know, like the 4.5 by 7 or 5 by 8, whatever those little clipboards are. And each little clipboard had a sign-in, you know, name, address. The backside had, you know, they comments about the house, and I would hand that to them. And each one of those clipboards had a pen on it, and then I would walk them through the house. All right, you know, about a third of the way through, because now I'm talking to them, I'm asking questions about them. I would, if somebody hadn't already started filling it out, I would ask them, "Oh, do you mind? Just make sure you get that filled out for me." Right. So, and most of the time they did it. But even if they did do it, what I would do next is I would say to them, like, let's say I walk through the whole house with them now. Now I know, you know, they live over on Oak Street. They've been there 10 years. You know, they're thinking about downsizing eventually. I repeat that to them. I go, "Oh, okay, so you live on Oak Street. You've been there 10 years. You're thinking about downsizing. You're waiting for your son to graduate from college. Hey, would you guys like MLS on your phone?" "Well, yeah." "All right, great. Give me your cell phone number." And then I send them Mobility RE, which is a tool that we have that's like MLS on your phone. So now they have to, because no one's going to, if you do this right, no one's going to say no to that. But you have to get in rapport, meaning I'm having a conversation with them about them. Matter-of-factly, just close for their cell phone number. And they go, "Oh, yeah, it's 17. What do you mean MLS on your phone?" I mean, you're driving around, you see a house, you go to your app, it'll tell you everything about the house. "Really? Yeah, here you go. Give me your cell phone number." Right? So
Excellent.
That's what I do.
Excellent.
And I'm going to tell you right now, like back in the day before this, when I used to do open houses, okay, I show up on my horse. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that old. I'd show up at the house. We didn't have even MLS computers at first. Everything was paper. Press hard, you know, we had an MLS computer, but so I used to get everybody to sign in. And if they didn't sign in, I would say, "You know what, this is not my house and the seller has requested everybody sign in, so sorry." Right? Now, have I had to do that? I think once or twice maybe. Most people sign in, but it's like you said, Adriana, every now and then they give you the false information. So what you could do is at the end is just clarify. Is that a 7? Is this a 4? Right? So just clarify the information. But today, with the tools that we have, I mean, you can even use the QR codes today too. Take the VAC classes too, and there's many ways you can get all their information.
That one is
Hopefully
a really
helps.
good tips. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. My pleasure. All right, awesome. Any other questions today, folks? Don't be shy. Hit *6 and you will unmutify in order to testify. I use testify because it rhymes with unmutify.
Hey, Rick, this is Murad.
Oh. Hey, Murad.
Hey, just for the open house, I was going to add a couple things for Adriana.
Sure.
Is her name?
Yes.
So collecting numbers but non-motivated people doesn't going to do you any good, even if they're good.
Right.
So the best thing is to always ask them about their motivation. You ask them questions, what they're looking for, how soon they're going to move, what would the dream house come from, and then you have in your back pocket a couple other listings, either upcoming listing or existing listings that may fit their needs. Yeah, I've seen a property that might fit your needs. So what's the best way for me to share it with you? When would you like to know about it? Oh, no, not about today. Okay. What's the best way for me to share it with you? You want it email or text? This way you find out about their motivation and how soon they want to visit that property. And of course, so in order for me to show you the property, I have to have legal representation. Let's sign the buyer broker agreement for a day or two or for a month, whatever it takes.
Right. Good. I love it. Thanks, Murad. Appreciate that. Good stuff. Good information. All right, folks. Unfortunately, I got to fly, so let's keep it rocking. We'll do this again next week. All right, next week I'm actually doing one of my coaching calls with a group of 4. It's a group coaching call with 4, and these guys have just been in my coaching, I would say, for 7 years. They all could be in individual coaching, but since they've been together for so long, so it's a really good group of 4 to see how it goes if you're thinking about joining coaching in one of my groups. So next week, live, Monday the 29th, group of 4, and I think I got 1 from Nevada, 2 from Arizona, and 1 from California. Yeah, that's exactly how it breaks down. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.